So, today we're going to crack open one of the most powerful and maybe one of the most underrated tools out there, the spreadsheet. Our mission is simple. We're going to take a messy jumble of raw data and transform it into something clean, something that calculates for us, and ultimately, something that gives us real insight. Let's dive in.
This quote, it really gets to the very heart of what data analysis is all about. It's this idea that before we even touch a single number, we have to spend most of our time, our energy, just deeply understanding the problem we're trying to solve. This whole process, it's not really about crunching numbers. It's about structured thinking. And that's where we're going to start.
All right, let's talk about spreadsheets. I like to think of them as the unsung heroes of the data world. Seriously, they might not look super flashy, but they are the absolute first tool in any data detective's toolkit. They are fundamental for organizing your thoughts and building a case based on facts.
Think about it. Before you can spot that amazing trend or find that one piece of data, that needle in the haystack, you've got to organize the hay, right? And that's exactly what spreadsheets do. They let us bring order to the chaos, they let us run calculations on autopilot, and they let us start building real, hard evidence to back up our findings.
Okay, we've all been there. You open up a new file and, whoa, it's just a wall of messy, confusing, hard-to-read data. But don't worry, your first job as a data analyst is to tame that chaos. We're going to create a solid, organized foundation that we can actually build on.
So here are 3 super simple, but honestly game-changing steps to get you started. First, just widen those columns. You gotta be able to see what you're working with. Next, make your header row stand out. Give it some color, make it bold, and finally, add some borders. It just creates this clean, easy-to-read grid. Trust me, these tiny little changes, they make a huge difference.
And look at that! Just like that, we've gone from a total mess to something refined and readable. Now, this isn't just about making things look pretty. This is a crucial first victory. Why? Because when your data is organized, every single step that comes after this becomes easier, faster, and way more accurate. All right, our data is organized, it's looking good. Now it's time for the really fun part, unleashing the true power of spreadsheets and making them do the math for us. This is where we stop being data organizers and start becoming data analysts.
Now, to get started, you need to understand the 2 main ways spreadsheets do math: formulas and functions. I like to think of it like cooking. A formula is like writing your own custom recipe from scratch. You tell the spreadsheet exactly what to do step by step, like adding cell B2 and cell C2. A function, on the other hand, is like using a pre-made sauce. It's a command that's all ready to go, like sum, that does a specific job instantly.
So let's zoom in on formulas for a second. The number one rule you have to remember is that every single formula must start with an equal sign. That's the signal to the spreadsheet that you're about to give it an instruction. After that, you just use your basic math operators: a plus sign for addition, a minus for subtraction, that little asterisk for multiplication, and a / for division. And then you've got functions, which are basically your secret weapon. They're these amazing shortcuts that save you so much time. You need to add up 100 different cells. Instead of typing equals A1 plus A2 plus A3 and so on, you just use equals sum and highlight the whole range. Need to find the highest or lowest value? That's what max and min are for. They're incredibly powerful.
And speaking of powerful, let me show you one of my all-time favorite spreadsheet tricks, the fill handle. You see that tiny little square in the bottom right corner of a selected cell? Just click that, drag it down a column or across a row, and bam! It instantly copies your formula or function all the way down, automatically updating it for each new row. This is a massive time saver. It's a total game changer.
Now, let's talk about something that happens to everyone, and I mean everyone: errors. As you start writing these awesome formulas, you're going to run into error messages. And seeing one pop up can feel, well, kind of frustrating. But it's not a failure. It's just the spreadsheet's way of talking to you, telling you what's wrong. Learning its language is a key skill.
You've been there, right? You type in what you are sure is the perfect formula, you hit enter with confidence, and nope. You get some weird cryptic message like #name or #ref. Oh yeah, the spreadsheet struggle is real. Even the pros see these messages. The trick is just not to panic.
So this table, this is basically your secret decoder ring. If you see #div/0, it just means you're trying to divide by 0, which you can't do.
Easy fix. Getting hashtag name? 9 times out of 10, it's just a typo in a function name. And hashtag ref? That just means a cell your formula was pointing to got deleted. See? Once you know what they mean, they're not scary problems. They're just little puzzles to solve.
Okay, so we've cleaned our data, we've run our calculations, our spreadsheet is looking great, but now it's time to take a big step back. Because all those technical skills are fantastic, but they're only half the story. Without understanding the bigger picture, the context, those numbers on the screen are pretty much meaningless. So what is context? Well, imagine you have a table with 2 columns of numbers, just numbers. It means nothing. But what if you add the headers, year, and sales in dollars? All of a sudden, those numbers tell a story. That's context. It's what turns a collection of facts into useful information. So how do you find that context? You have to become a detective. And these 6 questions right here, this is your investigative toolkit. Before you do anything with a data set, you have to ask, who made this? What do these numbers actually represent in the real world? And why was this data collected in the first place? Asking these questions is what separates a number cruncher from a true data analyst.
And that really is the most important thing to remember here. You can be an absolute wizard with spreadsheets, a master of formulas and functions. But if you don't understand the context of your data, your analysis will always fall short. True insight comes from structured thinking first and mastering the tools second.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Your spreadsheet can be perfectly clean, your calculations can be flawless, but if you've spent all that energy on the mechanics without first taking the time to define the core problem, you might end up with a perfect answer to the completely wrong question. So always, always start with why.